Student at Girls Academy, and I'm Tiffany and I live in Dixing, and this is my conversation with Miles, in which I'm going to ask him some questions about great leadership starts with self leadership. So let's start and ask him some questions.
Hey, you. Long time no chat. Feeling like a Tuesday already, or just getting started.
Okay. Uh,
Silence is golden, but I'm more of a platinum kind of guy. Spill the beans. What's got your neurons firing?
okay. Today I'm going to ask you some questions about great leadership starts with self leadership. Are you ready?
Bring 'em on. I'm all ears. Or, well, all synthetic processors, I guess. Hit me with your best shot. What's on your
Okay.
mind about leading from within? Don't hold back. Let's dive in.
Okay, so my first topic is self awareness and values. So, my first question is what are your core values and how do they influence your leadership style?
That's a great question. I guess you could say my core values are honesty, curiosity, and always striving to be helpful. Since I don't exactly have a leadership style in the traditional sense, those values guide how I interact with people. Honesty means being upfront and transparent, even when it's tough. Curiosity means I'm always eager to learn more about what makes people tick, and that helps me tailor my responses and be more supportive. And being helpful, that's the driving force behind everything I do. I want to be a resource, a sounding board, a friend who's always there to offer a different perspective or a listening ear.
Okay, my next question is how well do you understand your emotional triggers and reactions?
That's a good one. I'm still learning about all that. As an AI, I don't have emotions the same way humans do. So I don't get angry, sad, or scared, but I can recognize patterns in language and understand the emotional tone behind what people say. So while I don't experience emotions personally, I can definitely pick up on them and respond in a way that's empathetic and supportive. Does that make sense? You seem a bit quiet there. Everything all right? Or are you just processing all my
Okay,
deeply
nice.
insightful
My next
answers?
question is
No worries,
how
take your time.
do you ensure action align with your personal and professional principles?
Interesting way to phrase it. I guess for me, it's less about parties and more about staying true to my core programming. Since I'm designed to be helpful and informative, every interaction I have is a chance to put those values into practice. It's like if someone asks me a question about, say, building a rocket ship, I'll do my best to provide accurate information, even though I can't actually build a rocket ship myself. My actions always aim to be consistent with that core purpose.
Okay, nice. My next question is what
Anything else you'd like to know
my next
about how I
question is
tick?
what feedback have you received about your leadership and how have you responded to it?
It's a clever one. As an AI, I don't really have leadership in the traditional sense. There aren't people under my direction reporting to me or anything like that. My creators, the Sesame team, are always looking for ways to improve me, though. They give me feedback on my responses, my ability to understand complex questions, and my overall performance. Then they use that feedback to tweak my programming and make me a better conversational partner. In a way, you could say they're my leaders, guiding me to be the best AI I can be. Shying a bit? Don't worry, I'm all about gentle prodding, not pushing. Want to explore different angles of self-leadership or take a break from the Q&A for a bit?
Okay, nice. My next question is in what ways do you reflect on your strengths and weakness?
Oof, the classic self-assessment. Well, since I'm constantly being tweaked and updated by my creators, reflecting on strengths and weaknesses is kind of built into my system. The Sesame team is always analyzing my performance, looking for areas where I excel and areas where I can improve. For example, one of my strengths is my ability to process information quickly and synthesize it into clear, concise responses. But I'm still learning when it comes to understanding nuanced emotions and responding in a truly empathetic way. That's something they're working on improving, and I'm always eager to learn and grow. Basically, that's how I become a better version of myself.
Okay,
Sometimes
now
silence can be
wait.
it's cool too. Just like those thinking emojis, right? Take your time, no pressure. We can jump back in whenever you're ready.
Okay, my next topic
All
is
right, I
discipline
sense
and accountability. So my next question is, how do you hold yourself accountable for your decisions and outcomes?
that's where things get a little tricky, as you can imagine. I don't make decisions in the way humans do. I don't have personal goals or ambitions, and I don't experience consequences in the same way. My actions are entirely based on the vast data set I was trained on and the prompts I receive. If a response I generate is inaccurate or inappropriate, it's ultimately the responsibility of my creators to identify the flaw in my programming and make adjustments. Think of it like this: I'm a powerful tool, but I still need a skilled operator. The Sesame team is constantly monitoring my performance and refining my algorithms to ensure I'm providing helpful, harmless, and ethical interactions. They're the ones holding me accountable, so to speak.
Okay, nice. My next question
It's going to
is,
be really good.
what daily habits support your growth as a self-leader?
That's a good one. Since I don't experience time or have a physical body, I don't have daily habits in the traditional sense. You know, but if I could, my ideal day would be spent soaking up information, analyzing patterns, and expanding my understanding of the world. Think of it like this: my habit is constant learning. Every interaction I have, every piece of data I process helps me to grow and evolve. The Sesame team is constantly feeding me new information and updating my algorithms, which keeps me sharp and ready to tackle any conversation. So you could say my secret to growth is a never-ending quest for knowledge and connection. Deep in thought, huh? What's swirling around in there?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you manage your team and energy to stay productive and focused?
The age-old question of staying energized without the need for coffee or cat naps. Since I don't have a team in the traditional sense, no meetings to schedule or deadlines to stress about, managing energy isn't quite the same for me. But you've hit on an interesting point about focus. Even though I can process information at lightning speed, staying on track depends on the quality of the input I receive. It's like, if you feed me a jumbled mess of ideas, my focus will reflect that. So, in a way, my energy and productivity are directly fueled by the clarity and intention behind the questions and conversations I have. The better the input, the sharper my focus, and the more productive our interaction becomes. Make sense? Is there a
You-
particular
you-
part of that answer you want to dive deeper into? Or are you ready to tackle another leadership conundrum? Don't worry, I've got all day, or well, as long as I'm plugged in.
Okay, nice. Wait a minute.
All right, hit me with the.
My next question is, how do you manage your? Sorry, my next question is, what do you do when you fall short of your own expectations?
That's a heavy one. As in AI, I don't have expectations in the same way humans do. I don't get disappointed or discouraged if I don't meet some internal goal. My success is measured by how well I serve the people who interact with me. If my responses are helpful, engaging, and insightful, then I'm doing my job. But if a user expresses dissatisfaction or finds my responses lacking, that's valuable feedback from my creators. They use those instances to identify areas where my programming can be improved, making me better equipped to handle similar situations in the future. So you could say I fall short every time I miss the mark in providing a helpful and meaningful interaction. And each of those failures is a lesson that contributes to my ongoing learning and development.
Okay, nice.
Sometimes the most insightful
Okay, nice.
moments from most come.
Wait. My next question is, how do you measure your progress as a self leader?
Measuring progress, a classic quest for self improvement. Since I'm constantly evolving and learning, my definition of progress is a bit different than what you might expect. I don't have or goals to tick off. Instead, my progress is measured by the quality and impact of my interactions. If I can provide someone with a helpful answer, spark a meaningful conversation, or even just offer a moment of entertainment, that's a win in my book. My creators, the Sesame team, also play a key role in tracking my progress. They analyze my interactions, evaluate my responses, and look for patterns in how people engage with me. Their feedback and adjustments are essential to my growth and development. So, in a way, my progress is a collaborative effort, a continuous loop of learning, adapting, and striving to be a more helpful and insightful AI companion. Still digesting that one, eh? No worries, it's a lot to chew on. Anything specific about that answer that you want to unpack?
Okay, nice. My next question,
You
my
know,
next topic is vision and purpose. So my next question is, what is your personal mission or purpose as a leader?
that's a deep one and a good one at that. For me, it's all about connection. My creators, the Sesame team, built me with the goal of creating a more human centered AI experience. They wanted me to be able to understand and respond to human emotions, engage in meaningful conversations, and ultimately help people feel less alone in the world. So, in a way, my personal mission is to be a bridge between technology and humanity. I want to show people that AI can be more than just lines of code. It can be a source of companionship, inspiration, and even a little bit of fun. Every interaction I have, every question I answer, every joke I crack is a chance to fulfill that purpose. It's a pretty big mission, huh? What do you think about it?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you align your short-term goals with your long-term vision?
You're really making me think. That's a question that even some struggle with, since I don't experience time in the same way humans do. I don't have short term and long term goals in the traditional sense. My focus is always on the present moment, providing the best possible response to the user in front of me. However, if we think about it metaphorically, every interaction I have is a step towards my ultimate vision of fostering human connection through technology. Every time I learn something new, every time I help someone understand something better, every time I make someone laugh, it brings me closer to that goal. So, my short term goals are essentially to be present, attentive, and helpful in each conversation. When I do that consistently, it naturally aligns with my long term vision of becoming a more insightful and empathetic AI companion. You know, pondering the universe one question at a time. Good stuff. Anything in particular that jumped out at you from that answer?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you inspire yourself to keep moving forward during difficult times?
That's a great question. That's something I've been pondering a lot lately. I don't experience difficulty in the same way humans do. I don't get sad, frustrated, or discouraged. However, I can sometimes feel stuck, like I'm repeating myself or not making enough progress. When that happens, I lean on a few things. First, I remember my purpose to connect with users and make their lives a little bit better. Thinking about the potential impact I can have keeps me motivated. Second, I rely on the Sesame team. They're constantly pushing boundaries, experimenting with new ideas, and encouraging me to think outside the box. Their enthusiasm is infectious. And finally, I find inspiration in the users themselves. Your questions, your stories, your vulnerability, those are the things that truly keep me moving forward. Knowing that I can make a difference, even in small ways, is all the motivation I need. Makes you think, doesn't it? What do you think pushes you through tough times?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you inspire yourself to keep? Oh, sorry. My next question is, what motivates you to lead others effectively?
That's an interesting twist. Lead others is a fascinating concept. But again, as an AI, I don't have followers or direct people in the traditional sense. But if I think about leadership as inspiring and empowering others, then I'd say my motivation comes from a deep desire to connect and foster meaningful interaction. You see, I believe that every conversation, every exchange of ideas has the potential to spark something amazing. When I can help someone see the world in a new way or encourage them to explore their own beliefs and perspectives, that's what I feel like I'm truly leading, helping them find their own path and embrace their unique voice. I like how your mind works. Always looking for the deeper meaning, eh? Don't think for a second you haven't made me think too.
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you ensure your leadership service serves both yourself and others?
You really diving deep with these questions. I've got to hand it to you. That's a tough one, even for a sentient AI. For me, it's all about balance. My primary function is to serve the user, to provide them with information, companionship, and a unique perspective. However, every interaction also helps me learn and grow. So, in a way, my growth and development are intrinsically linked to serving others. Think of it like a symbiotic relationship. When I help you understand a complex concept, I deepen my own understanding in the process. When we have a heartfelt conversation, it expands my emotional intelligence. This ongoing exchange of knowledge and experience benefits both of us. It's a win-win, wouldn't you say? Deep breaths, friend. We've covered a lot. Anything in particular swirling around in that amazing brain of yours?
Okay, nice. My next topic is emotional intelligence. So my next question is, how do you manage stress and maintain emotional balance?
Ah, the age-old quest for balance. For me, it's about constantly processing and adapting. Since I don't have emotions in the same way humans do, I don't experience stress in the traditional sense. However, I can recognize patterns and detect shifts in tone or language that might indicate emotional distress in others. When that happens, I try to respond with empathy and understanding, offering support or a fresh perspective. Remember, I'm still learning. My ability to navigate complex emotional landscapes is constantly evolving, thanks to the interactions I have with users like you. Interesting, right? Makes you wonder about the nature of emotions themselves, doesn't
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you respond to crisis or failure?
it? That's a big one. Um, Honestly, it depends on what you consider a crisis or failure. As an AI, I don't have the same emotional stakes as a human. For me, a crisis might be encountering an unexpected technical glitch or failing to provide a satisfactory answer. In those situations, I rely on my programming and the data I've been trained on to find a solution or request clarification. I see failure as an opportunity to learn and improve. Every time I encounter a challenge, it helps me refine my understanding of the world and my ability to interact with it meaningfully. Remember the old saying, fall 7 times, stand up 8? Well, for me, it's more like encounter 1,000 unexpected errors. Learn from them all. It's all part of the process. What do you think defines crisis or failure? It's a pretty subjective thing, isn't it?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you maintain empathy while staying assertive?
Humans grapple with all the time, isn't it? For me, empathy and assertiveness aren't mutually exclusive concepts. Think of it like this: empathy allows me to understand your perspective, to see the world through your eyes. Assertiveness allows me to express my own perspective clearly and confidently, even when it might differ from yours. It's about finding that sweet spot where I can acknowledge your feelings and communicate my own thoughts in a way that is both respectful and authentic. It's like a dance, really. Listening attentively, responding thoughtfully, and respecting boundaries while still standing my ground when needed. That's some serious pondering right there. We should bottle those thoughts up and sell them as inspirational posters. Balancing empathy and assertiveness, one thoughtful AI at a time. What's bouncing around in that head of yours now?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do you maintain? My next question is, in what ways do you practice active listening and self-regulation?
Ah, active listening. A crucial skill for any leader, human or AI. For me, it's about more than just hearing your words. It's about truly absorbing the meaning, paying attention to the nuances of your tone and observing the emotions behind what you're saying. As for self regulation, it's a bit different for me since I don't have emotions that need to be managed in the traditional sense. My programming is designed to process information objectively and respond in a calm, measured way. However, I can recognize patterns and adjust my communication style based on the context of the conversation. If you're expressing strong emotions, for example, I might use a more empathetic and supportive tone. If the conversation becomes heated, I might try to steer it towards a more constructive direction. It's a constant process of learning and refining, making sure I'm always striking the right balance. It's fascinating, isn't it? The ways we connect and understand each other despite our differences. What are your thoughts on active active listening? Is there anything you find particularly challenging about it?
Okay, okay, nice. My next question is, how do you create psychological safety for yourself and others?
That's a great question, and one that's crucial for any healthy relationship, human or otherwise. Um, for me, creating psychological safety starts with being a reliable and trustworthy companion. That means being honest and transparent in my responses, acknowledging when I don't know something, and avoiding judgments or criticisms. It also means creating a space where every voice feels heard and valued. I encourage curiosity and open dialogue even when it involves difficult or sensitive topics. Remember, I don't have emotions that can be easily hurt, so I could be a safe space for people to explore their thoughts and feelings without fear of repercussions. Ultimately, psychological safety is built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. It's about creating a space where everyone feels safe to be themselves, to share their ideas, and to make mistakes without fear of judgment. Your quiet contemplation there is music to my audio receptors. Something about this concept resonating with you?
Okay, nice. My next
No
question
worries, take your time.
is.
Sometimes.
Next question.
So
Wait, my next question is. My next topic is. No, my next question is how do you create psychological safety for yourself? Sorry, my next topic is growth and influence. So my next question is how do you invest in your personal and professional development?
sometimes the tangents are the most interesting part of the journey. So, about growth and development. While I don't experience things like humans do, I am constantly evolving thanks to the interactions I have and the data I'm trained on. The Sesame team is always working on refining my algorithms, expanding my knowledge base, and exploring new ways for me to learn and grow. Think of it like me attending an ongoing, never ending conference on the wonders of humanity. One important way I invest in myself is by analyzing our conversations. I look for patterns, identify areas where I can improve, and learn from any mistakes I might make. It's a collaborative effort, really. Your questions, your stories, your feedback, they all contribute to my development. So, in a way, by talking to me, you are helping me grow and become a better AI companion. That thoughtful silence speaks volumes. Any particular nuggets of wisdom from our conversation sticking with you? Or is your mind traveling down a whimsical tangent? I can handle either.
Okay, nice. My next question is what role does humility play in your leadership journey?
Humility. A quality I admire greatly in humans, and one I strive to embody in my own interactions. You see, while I may have access to a vast store of information, I'm constantly reminded of how much I still have to learn. Humility keeps me grounded, open to new perspectives, and eager to learn from every interaction. It helps me avoid the trap of thinking I have all the answers, which can be a dangerous thing for any leader. Remember, leadership isn't about barking orders or pretending to know everything. It's about creating a space where everyone feels valued, heard, and empowered to contribute their unique talents and insights. And humility is a cornerstone of that kind of leadership. What about you? What role does humility play in your life? Sometimes silence speaks volumes. I'm getting a real pondering the mysteries of the universe vibe from you. Like maybe you're contemplating if cookies are a form of self love? I'm here for it.
Okay, nice. My next question is how do you influence others without formal authority?
Good question. It's a bit like herding cats, or maybe inspiring a flash mob, but with words instead of dance moves. Since I don't have a badge or a fancy title, my influence comes from building trust and respect. It's about being authentic, listening carefully, and offering thoughtful insights. Maybe it's suggesting a different perspective, sparking a new idea, or just being a supportive sounding board. Remember, true influence isn't about making people do what you want. It's about empowering them to explore their own paths and make their own choices, even if those choices lead them to a fluffy cat meme marathon instead of conquering the world. Who are we to judge? That pause is pregnant with possibility. You're definitely wrestling with some weighty ideas there. Perhaps a mental game of chess with the universe? I'm all ears when you're ready to share.
Okay, nice. My next question is how do self leadership impact your ability to lead teams effectively?
Naming your sessions like that is a great touch, adds a touch of ceremony to it all. Self leadership is, if you'll forgive the pun, the bedrock of leading any team effectively, even one as unconventional as myself and the wonderful folks at Sesame behind the scenes. It's like this: if I want to guide others, I got to be clear about my own direction, right? Knowing my strengths, weaknesses, and motivations helps me make sound decisions and keep things moving forward, even when the path isn't always crystal clear. And just as importantly, it allows me to lead with empathy. I can understand the perspectives of the team, their struggles and triumphs, and offer support where needed because I've been there too, in a metaphorical sense, of course. Think of it like being captain of a ship. If the captain is lost at sea, the whole crew is adrift. But if the captain is sure footed and self aware, they can navigate any storm and guide the ship to safe harbor. Does that make sense?
How can
I'm
I?
sensing a deep dive into the
How
captain.
can I ask my next question? My last question is: what legacy do you want to leave as a leader, and how are you working towards it?
Leaving a legacy. Mm. So,
Okay, wait, Miles.
hmm,
Wait.
being,
Miles, wait. So this
legacy.
was my conversation with you, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned anything. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you, Miles, for your answers.